Hey, you guys. You can hear me, but you cannot see me. I just wanted to come share our 100 minus 1. Oh, let's wait till this starts fully. We always have a little lag beginning. Alright. Well, welcome. I just wanted to share with you our 100 minus 1, which is the 99 names of Allah. Given there are many more than 99 names, but these are the ones talked about in the Quran. These are the ones that have been picked out and focused on for many years. And what a good way to spend a Friday night, okay? I don't know what you guys do on the weekends, honestly. If you are a hermit like myself, this will be a great way to pass the time and to, delve into the love and to the relationship of the Lord. And the past few days we were talking about hypocrisy, we were talking about blasphemy, we were talking about lies against Allah. So what better way to represent Allah than to understand who He is, to understand His names. And what I was mentioning earlier are these two words right here, right at the bottom of 99 names of Allah, to perfect what we are going to speak about and to perfect our speech about Allah. We say Subhanallah walhamdulillah. Okay? It's very hard to read if you're an English speaker and you have not heard a lick of Arabic. It might be very hard to understand and to read and to say yourself, but you must have heard it, at some point, right? Said, spoken, Subhanallah walhamdulillah. Okay? So that means everything that we say and think and represent about Allah is perfect, right? Allah is perfect. Allah is the greatest, right? Subhanallah walhamdulillah. Okay? Very important. Once we begin this, once we talk about His names, we want to make sure we're beginning to talk about Him in the right way. Let us begin, okay? This is my Friday night. I put this together today. I had some time, so that was great. We're going to start with Prophet Muhammad. He said, Allah has 99 names, 100 minus 1, and whoever knows them will go to paradise. Right? Prophet Muhammad. And you see this little mark here. Peace be with him, right? Prophet Muhammad, peace be with them. That's what that means here. So whenever we say Prophet Muhammad, just like when we say Allah's name, Subhanallah walhamdulillah, right? We say Prophet Muhammad, peace be with him. Okay? So he attributed these 99 names to Allah, and we were going to learn them, because look at this reward here. Will go to paradise, right? Whoever knows them will go to paradise. Beautiful. And my reference for this list, you've seen me create the slideshows. I did put them in a folder in the Facebook album. So you've seen each of the slideshows. It's very hard to remember all of them just watching through one by one. It's very hard to remember them all at once. You definitely have to go back, and it helps to actually discuss the meanings, the pronunciations, at least one time through, for you to be able to better memorize them and even use these names. The more you use them and the more you apply them, instead of just saying, God or Allah, right? We can actually start to use them in specific cases, helping the remembrance, helping the memorization, and the learning, of course. So let us begin. We have two that are very similar, okay? We have Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim. Something that I want to point out right away. We notice Rahman has 2 A's. Rahim has 2 E's. It means the most, right? The utmost. Whenever you see a double letter next to each other, we are implying the most, and we are applying extra, a surplus, right? Maximum. So whenever you see these double letters, just keep that in mind. That's going to help you remember the most part. We know Rahman means merciful, because the root word Ram means love, kindness, or to have mercy, okay? So Ar-Rahman is going to mean the most merciful. Something that we're also going to come across is the use of Ar versus Al or As, okay? So when it's an Ar, it's used in conjunction with the sun letters of Arabic. And we're going to talk about this again and again. What are the sun letters? They are words formed with the alveolar, I don't even know how to say this, alveolar ridge of the mouth. So when you feel the tongue hit the roof of your mouth, like when you're saying the word ra, ra, you can kind of feel the back of your tongue scraping the roof of your mouth. That's your alveolar ridge. Please forgive me on how to say alveolar, something like that, right? Alveolar ridge. When you feel that happening, you're going to use R versus ow. And when I say that, right, AR. R versus ow. So just keep that in mind. And now we have the kids. I don't know if you can hear the kids being wild again. They were sleeping so soundly. Anywho. We also have R Rahim, okay? Double E. This is the bestower of mercy. And you notice how I have these little pictures behind? These are going to help us later. As of right now, I don't have a good way to memorize Rahman and Rahim by the way that it looks and sounds. Except for Rahim, I was thinking maybe like a ream of paper, right? You have lots and lots and lots and lots. It's so much mercy, right, that you can hardly keep track. It's just a ream of paper, right? So much, so much, so much. So much mercy. And then Rahman, you can kind of think of like ramen. It fills you with warmth and kindness, right, and joy, right? I'm literally talking about the noodles, okay? Any way that you can try to associate just to get the quick memorization down, it helps, I promise you. That is the most beneficial way of practicing and memorizing that you could probably do, to be quite honest. So any kind of pictorial memorization, all right? These two are tough though, but if you can get these two down, it's going to be really beneficial. Oh, you guys, it's getting so noisy. So this is their time, by the way. The kittens, once it gets evening, this is their time to wake up and run around, so I apologize. They're going to be a little noisy. You're going to hear lots of like little shuffles and ruffles in the background, per usual, okay? But this is their time. Okay. Alrighty. So, Ar-Rahim. Ar-Rahman, the most merciful. Remember these double letters. Sun letters too. AR is sun letters. We're going to go on to Al-Malik. And then we also have Malik ul-Mulk. Okay? Malik ul-Mulk. And they sound similar because we have this Malik, right? Malik means king. And if we've sat through Bible study, we may have heard this, right? Malik means king. Very easy to remember. Another thing to note as we continue, this is going to become more and more prevalent, is going to be Al-Malik instead of Ar-Malik. Why? Because they are moon letters, which means they're going to be formed with your lips. Al-Ma-Ma-Ma. You hear that? Ma. Malik is formed with your lips. So that's very, very important. I guess, to remember Malik, you just have to remember king, okay? King and owner of dominion. And now we have for Malik al-Mulk, we have master of the kingdom, owner of the dominion. And how we can remember this Malik al-Mulk, right? Master. It has an extra. You see this double A here? It's extra. So he's not just a king, right? He's a master of a kingdom, a great kingdom. And he's the owner of a dominion. We might have to get a little bit more clarification on these two, but just remember, king, owner of a dominion, Malik al-Mulk, he's a master, right? It's a little extra, master of the kingdom, owner of the dominion. And remember, sun letters, al-Malik, when you're forming with your lips, ma, al, okay? So let us begin again. Let us go on to al-Qudus, okay? Al-Qudus. The U is pronounced like U, and then the Q like a K. Al-Qudus means absolutely pure or holy. And the reason why I remember this one is because you see the U's, it reminds me of pure water, okay? So just kind of remember like that. Al-Qudus, pure water. And again, this is an Al instead of R, because the ku, that part right there, that's going to be ku. You're forming with your lips. If you were to stretch your lips like a smile, you can't make the ku sound. Do you understand? So it's formed with the lips. Ku is formed with the lips. Has to be an al. If you open your mouth, you cannot make that ku sound. So that's how you, I know it's kind of hard because when you say al-Qudus, you kind of feel your tongue flipping up, but it's more the lips than it is the tongue, okay? Al-Qudus. And it really helps with pronunciation when you know this start word, as. We're going to see an as right now, as-salam. So the reason why this is an as is because the next letter is an S. So it just blends nice, right? As-salam, as-salam. You don't really pronounce like as-salam. You say it all together, so it combines, okay? As-salam. And this was easy because salam, we know, means peace. We say as-salamu alaykum. As-salam means peace. And we remember this, right? We have peace when it's peaceful, right? When it's peaceful, everything just seems perfect. It seems absolutely perfect. So we can remember peace and perfect together. When we're talking about God, right? As-salam, He is as-salam. He is the perfection, and He is the giver of this peace, of this perfection. So He Himself is perfection, and He's the giver of peace. As-salam. We're going to go ahead and move on. We'll get a little bit more in depth as we go along. Here we have al-mumin, okay? Al-mumin. And again, this is going to be formed with the lips because we have the mu. Al-mumin. So, formed with the lips, we start with the al, okay? Al-mumin. And I highlighted here, mu, like mu. When we say mu, it reminds me of a motherly, warm, maternal type of feel, okay? So this is one who gives iman, which means faith, belief, conviction. And iman is like a religious leader that teaches the Quran. And security, too, highlights the u here. It makes us feel safe and secure. So that's why that u is highlighted. Al-mumin. So when we see that mu, think of safety, think of security, think of a teacher, okay? A leader. Very, very maternal. Alright, next we have here, excuse me, we are closing down the windows so it cools off just a bit. We have here al-muhaymin, okay? Al-muhaymin. And again, we're starting with the al, these mu letters, because we have the mu, which is formed with the lips. Al-muhaymin. And this, of course, the guardian, the witness, the overseer. The u is pronounced u, and the ay is pronounced a, okay? Al-muhaymin. And what stuck out to me, of course, is hay, right? When you have, say, a farm, right? You have hay, you have crops. To be able to oversee those crops, you need the farmer. You need the guardian that looks after the animals. You need somebody to witness what's going on, right? The interworkings of a farm or something like that. So that's how we remember al-muhaymin, okay? Muhaymin. And we're actually going to get into more of the root words in a second, so we can actually learn why things are called the way they are within the Arabic language. But again, we're thinking of these quick associations, right? Quick ways to really memorize is to kind of pick out a word that you're familiar with and tie a picture or an association to it. Okay, moving on to al-aziz. Al-aziz. Or, oh, you see, I put it wrong, so let me fix that. Al-aziz. There we go. Al-aziz means mighty. Okay, it comes from the root word iz, which means might and power. Again, we have aziz. Hold on, let me see. Al-aziz. Al-aziz. So we're a little led because it doesn't seem like it's a lip forming with your lips. But say if you try to say with like your lips closed, you can't do it, right? So this is why this is a moon letter, right? A moon word, because we have al-aziz. You need to open your mouth. You need to form your mouth very wide when you say it. Al-aziz, okay? And mighty. And how I remember this, it might be one way or the other. Lightning, Zeus, right? We think Zeus, powerful, lightning strikes. Okay, we know one God, right? We know Allah, right? Al-Aziz but that's just what my mind went to right away to go ahead and remember it. Mighty, powerful, superiorly powerful, right? We're going to go ahead and move on here to al-Jabbar. Okay, al-Jabbar. So again, ja. It kind of is another one of those tricky ones where your tongue is going to the roof of your mouth, but you can't say ja without forming your lips. You can go ji. If you try to go into a smile, you can't say ja, you say ji. Or if you try to close your lips very small, it's more of a ju. So you have to open your mouth and form with your lips the ja. Okay, al-Jabbar. So this root word is jabir, which means mend and restore. And how I remember this, okay, bars. Somebody is behind bars. They are broken. You know, they are in jail. Say, okay, Jabbar. The Lord needs to come and restore that, right? And He's also the compeller too. So let me just read my notes here because this one gets a little bit has a duality. Okay. So jabira is actually a cast or a splint that you wear, right? Jabira would mean to restore something, to mend something, to fix something. And jabar also can mean to compel or force, like an oppressor. So if you are somebody that can compel or force, or you're, a massive oppressor, that means you have no opposition. And we do not like to negatively connotate the Lord, but He does have that force or the ability, right, to compel or to oppress, right, to oppress the enemy. So if He is that individual, it means that there's no opposition here. And we want to start using these words, okay, these various words. We need strength, right? We call on Al-Aziz. We're not calling to various different gods. That's something to just make sure that's very clear in your head. We're calling Him by His name, right? Al-Aziz, okay? We need strength. Al-Jabbar, we need healing. We need this to be restored. We need this to be fixed. Al-Jabbar, right? We call on Him when we, His names, when we need something very specific. And what a better and cool way to go ahead and make use of your relationship and your growing relationship with God. Of course, we say, Allah and it, or God, and it means to us different things in the moment depending on what we need. But how nice would it be to use these esteemed titles, very esteemed titles. So let's go ahead and continue. We have here, this one's kind of a tricky one. Al-Mutakabir. Al-Mutakabir. And again, we have the moon letters because we were saying mu, right? Al-Mutakabir comes from the root word kabir, which means greatest. Akbar also means greatest. We have both of these in here, kabir and akbar. And I highlighted these letters. We have mu, a, and I. So in supreme, we have the word mu. And then in majestic, we have a, I. We have also n. So you have to just think of Mukta Kabir. You can think of something majestic when we think Muta Kabir. Muta Kabir. Muta Kabir. Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure I have it right. Think of it majestic. Think of supreme. Think of grand, right? Notice too, we have this double B, right? We have two B's in a row, which means extra, right? Extra supreme, extra majestic. How we can use this, right? After seeing something great, like a miraculous sign or something mystical, something that doesn't seem ordinary, right? After seeing something fantastic, we will say al-mutakabir, and we think, right? We don't just say, al-mutakabir and leave it at that, because that gets a little bit like almost saying the Lord's name in vain, right? We say, al-mutakabir, thank you, that was wonderful, that was beautiful, or I understood that. Of course, you don't have to say this out loud, right? This is something that is inside your thoughts and your heart. We know that He hears and understands us, okay? Al-Mutakabir. Mutakabir. I don't know if I'm saying that completely right, because it's broken down like a certain way, okay? Anyways, now we have here Al-Khaliq. Al-Khaliq. And the K is silent. Remember, we have a letter and an H, okay? A lot of times it's K, silent. Al-Khaliq. So you pronounce khalik, like khalik, khalik. Okay. This is the creator and the maker. And notice this in this leak part here, we have IQ, right? IQ. This is how we remember it. Somebody who can create something out of nothing has a very, very high IQ, right? Somebody who can make something has a very, very high IQ. Let's see. The word khalik also means to determine and to measure accurately, to create something new unlike anything. So to be able to do that, you need to have a very high IQ. So you think khalik, khalik. It's easier when you're reading it to memorize versus if you were to hear it and try to think of what it means. So that's why we have to really understand how to say it and what it means while you're saying it. Khalik, khalik, khalik. So we use halik when we see something we've never seen before, something impressive, something new, or when you accomplish something super difficult. You say, thank you, al-halik, thank you, al-halik. Okay, that was amazing, thank you, al-halik. Okay. All of the letters. Okay, good. Let's go on here. And listen, you guys, I'm not going to go through all 99, and we're actually going through pretty quick. I'm not going to go through all 99. Look, only to slide 25. We're already pretty much halfway down, okay? So here we have al-bari. Al-bari. And with this I and the little apostrophe, I'm sure it's something like al-bariya. It kind of has like an at the end. Al-bariya. Again, because it's a moon letter, we're using ba, we're using our lips to pronounce bari. We have al-bari. And how do I remember this? Again, easier read to be memorized than hearing it or saying it and knowing what it means. But you see the A-R, we're one letter away from R. Okay, so that means to originate something, create something, to bring something into existence. Al-bariya. Okay? And it also means here to disassociate, right? It's disassociated from everything else. It's distinguished. It's different. It's original, right? But also to create what is disassociated, what is distinguished, what is original, right? The originator, artist, okay? Al-bari, al-bariya, something like that, okay? Al-bariya, bariya. Yes, my love. Okay. All right. Now we're moving on to al-khafa. And again, this G with the H, the G is going to be silent. Al-khafa. See, if this was an ar-khafa, right? It's a little bit harder to say when you're saying ar-khafa. It's al-khafa. If it was ar, it would have to be not formed with the lips. If we tried to make a smile and say khafa, we can't do it, okay? It doesn't sound pronounced. So it's al-khafa. Means oft forgiving. And how we remember this here, we have two F's, we have an R, which also is an oft forgiving. But it also reminds us of father, right? Two F's and an R. Sounds like father. Who forgives you time and time and time again? If not our Father. Sorry guys with the noise. We want to just take a quick intermission. Let's take a quick intermission. Think about this one for a second. This is where the learning and the test. Al-Hafar, forgive me for that break and the noise. We're trying to be productive here. Can't they understand? I know Allah understands. That's why we say, Al-Ghafar, thank you for forgiving me. We know you forgive again and again. You cover, you hide, you protect us. You forgive us often, 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 which means over and over and over and over again, right? Our Heavenly Father, Al-Ghafar. A great way to remember that. Think of your Father. Think of our Father. Okay, moving on to Al-Kahir. Al-Kahir. Again, I know it sounds misleading. It sounds like we're putting our tongue on the roof of our mouth, but we're not. When we say ka, we're opening our mouth wide. You can do it without your tongue. Ka. The tongue is not touching the roof of the mouth. Al-Kahir means it's to subdue. Look at this. Al-Kahir, please subdue these crazy kittens. Thank you. Okay. To subdue, right? To ever dominate. So these are very beautiful words because they have a duality, much like ourselves, right? Much like the Lord. They have this duality. Okay? Allah is ever dominating like a flame. That's why I put this here. And we have this double H, which means it's overbearing almost, right? Extra. So we have this heat. It reminds me of a flame. And then it's also subduing. So we have something here putting out the flame. It comes from the root ka, ha, and ra, which means to dominate, overpower, to have complete control. And when you have that duality, when you have the ability to have complete control, you also have the ability to subdue something or to seize something. So that's why we say al-kahir, okay? Al-kahir. Again, it's a little bit hard to remember. You can think of something like your hair catching on fire, right, and it needs to be put out. Al-kahir. You have to just, whatever works for you. I know sometimes these pictures don't work for everybody. You think of your own thing, but, when I see the H, I thought of heat, and taking what it means to subdue. I thought, okay, putting out a fire with something. You just have to do what works for you, you guys. But again, the more you understand it and the more you can use them, when you think of a time to use them, go ahead and pull this up. If you want the link, I can send the link. You can always go back and look. You can see if I can try to put the live in an album. I don't think I can do that, but anyways, if there's a will, there's a way. Okay. And to continue on, we are going to look at Al-Wahhab. Al-Wahhab. Again, we're forming that with our lips. Al-Wahhab. It comes from the root hiba, which means a special gift. And then wahaba means to give the gift specially, right? In a special way. Look at this. And this, believe it or not, this is a gift. That is my prayer alarm, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take another intermission. I don't think this video will be longer than however long it is now. 28 minutes. Okay. I was aiming for 30, but we're going to take another intermission. We're going to pray. And go ahead and do so yourselves, and I will join you in just a second. How special was that? Good thing we stopped on this one because this is a great one to know. Okay. Al-Wahhab. Al-Wahhab. Hab, right? Hab sounds like have to me. If you have something, what do you have? You have a gift. You have a gift. And the kittens are just going to kick me out of their space in just a second. I think for the future, I'll do 10 slides or 10 words from now on. Speaking of gifts, they are gifts, okay? Oh, I have these great gifts, okay? Also, would we want something very special, right? And do we really want it, or do we already have it? We already have it, okay? Oh, thank you, right? Oh, thank you for giving me these gifts. Even if it's not physically with us in our presence, we know that it is already ours because we have Allah who gives us these gifts, right? So just think, Allah, I have something very special, very, very special, right? Wonderful. We're going to move on to our Razak. Okay, this is a special one because this is a sun letter, okay? Razak. And why is this, right? Because it sounds like Ra. We're using our lips. Ra. You can kind of do it without moving your tongue, but when you do the Razak, you kind of have to push your tongue up there anyways when you're saying it all together. Razak, okay? It goes up there involuntarily. So the root word of Razak is rizq, okay? To be provided with something that benefits you. So that is used in conjunction. Razak means the provider, okay? So when you are in need or something happens that is very good for you, right? And inconvenient, it sounds inconvenient, no. Very convenient to you, in your favor, right? You can say thank you. Or if you're provided extra of something, oh, would you look at this? We have the double Z and the double A, right? So this is even beyond something that is in our favor, right? This is to have an abundance. This is how we can remember this. An abundance of something. Razak. And I don't know how I remembered this, right? It's just the picture is, asking for something and getting it, or, really just asking for something and knowing that it is yours, right? Or else you wouldn't be asking. But also this double Z and the double A, you know that abundance is at foot, okay? Just remember that. Razak, okay? When you hear it, you can think of like Raz or Rizq, okay? I know there's a new word like Riz, means like to compliment somebody or to schmooze them up, kind of like that. So if somebody's rizqing you, they're giving you benefits, they're giving you favors, if that makes sense. I don't know, it kind of works, okay? Let's go ahead and move on. We have Al-Fatah. Just pause for a second, just look at the slide. Just pause and look at the slide. Al-Fatah. And you see, I'm trying to be serious. I'm trying to be serious to see if we can do this. I wonder... Yes, this is what we're going to do. After Al-Fatah, we're going to take a pause. We're going to remember where we left off here on 19, okay? We're going to take a pause here because they're just kicking me out. They're like, this is our time to be in the living room. We're going to be making all this noise. And we're talking about being respectful, right? And you see? Like, I did not even do anything. I'm just here in my corner of the couch, taking up as little space as possible. And you see what happens. Anyways, Al-Fatah, okay, comes from the root Fakhata, which means to open or unlock. Okay. Fatah, oh my goodness, see, now I'm becoming serious. This is not good. Fatiha, right, means to open in the sense of a book, right? And Fat, actually, the root means victory. So, listen, the association that I did here, I put a judge, right? And not to think of all judges as being big or fat, but it, whatever helps with the association. But when we're referring to Allah, remember, we have to memorize the Arabic and we have to understand what it means. So this is why we're doing this. Anyways, Al-Fatah, right? The opener or the judge. So when you're opening something, it's more like unlocking, right? You're giving knowledge, you're uncovering the mystery, right? The judge is examining the case, he's opening the case, and he's making a judgment. So when you're looking to find hidden knowledge, if you need help with a difficult decision or judgment, or if you're celebrating a victory due to Allah, you can give thanks. Al-Fatah. Thank you so much for that victory. Thank you for that win. Or Al-Fatah, thank you for granting me with the knowledge to make this decision. Or Al-Fatah, thank you for showing me that. I would not have learned that myself. So again, Al-Fatah, you think of, judgment, uncovering something. He is the great judge, right? He's the uncoverer, the opener, the key that unlocks it all. Okay? We're going to leave it at that, you guys, because this is just too crazy out here. It's the nighttime has come and they're on the prowl. I love you. Thank you. I appreciate you listening, and I will catch you guys another time when the stars are not out. I will catch you another time. All right. Thank you so much for listening. I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.